So this TikTok comes out. And it's "do not approach me," and it goes viral. And then there were several follow-ups. We're going to play these because I want you to see the original, and then I want to. Interestingly, everyone got twisted in a knot over this. Let's go to the first one, Deli. That's number 4, and that's the first clip. Okay, let's play. You may have seen this already. Bear with me.
I'm literally shaking right now because I just had a man approach me in a parking lot and it went fine. And I'm going to tell you why it went fine and how to address it, because it was in a book I read and this is how you're supposed to address it, but it scared me. I'm literally shaking. So this guy, I am alone with my son, by myself, a woman, and a male approached me in a parking lot. He's, "Excuse me, miss," and I don't know why in the hell he was approaching me or what he was trying to do. And before he was probably 30 feet from me when he said, "Excuse me, ma'am." And I turned around and I literally yelled at him and I said, "Do not approach me." And he immediately started going in the other direction. And I just kept saying it over and over and over. I said, "Do not approach me. Do not approach me." And he, of course, got "What the F?" He started cussing and yelling, what's your problem? And I looked at him and he actually then crossed a couple cars down from my car. And he didn't come anywhere near me. He crossed a couple cars down from my car and was like, continuing to cuss and say, "What's your problem?" And I say, "You do not approach women in a parking lot." I just kept saying, "Do not approach me. You do not approach women in a parking lot," yelling it. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. Ever. No male should ever approach a woman in a parking lot. And if a male does approach you, you need to turn around and use the strongest voice that you can possibly use with them. Don't be polite. They need to literally screw off. No male should be approaching you in a parking lot.
Okay. So that's the first video.
You heard the baby in the back seat?
I see the baby "Wah, wah, wah." The baby's probably like, "You crazy, mama. You crazy." If that baby could talk, he'd be like, "Mom,
maybe her ex approached her
take
in the parking lot."
Exactly. "Mom, take some melatonin," something to just whew. So we see this and controversy erupts. Here's my take. And we're going to show, then there were follow-ups. There were 3 actually. But my immediate reaction was, as I watched everybody be like, "Oh, she's right. Oh, she's crazy." So I'm a female, right? I'm little. It just doesn't do justice to how small I actually am. Anytime I post a picture from here, it looks like I'm just either looking, everyone's either much bigger this way, much bigger. Something's just, I don't know. I'm kind of like a dwarf. But regardless, it's broad daylight. So I sit and I say, okay, it's broad daylight. You're in a parking lot. You're saying the guy said, "Excuse me, ma'am," and he's 30 feet away. So that doesn't sound to me as a menacing threat. It's not dark out. He's not right there. He's not pushing himself on you in some way. It just sounded to me what, does she have some experience with trauma in this area before? Has she had a terrible experience before? Did something go on to make this level of a reaction to the scene as she described it, right? With that being said, I immediately said to myself, yeah, guys just should never approach women in parking lots. You just shouldn't. You shouldn't, because it's a position where you see in movies a lot where women are trying to get to their car and, oh my gosh, and there's a guy coming, and it just has a menacing vibe to it just by nature. So, okay, he shouldn't have approached her in a parking lot unnecessarily, but was there a reason, and did she overreact? Seemed like there was, to be shaken like this in broad daylight seemed odd to me. It struck me as odd. Okay, so then let's keep watching. Let's watch the second one.
Me today in a parking lot while I was alone with my son, bent over trying to put him in his car seat. And I'm getting a lot of comments like this one, that how I responded to protect me and my son in that situation was over the top. Other people are saying he could have just been trying to help, or that someone that says, "Excuse me, ma'am," isn't a criminal. So let me ask you this. What does a criminal look like? At what point do you choose to defend yourself? Are you going to wait until somebody with an orange jumpsuit approaches you? Or maybe someone with a t-shirt that says, "I'm a rapist," or a human trafficker, or "I'm about to rob you"? Whatever your threshold might be, I would suggest that you don't wait until the person is right on top of you to do something about it. And as a woman, never underestimate your instincts.
Okay. As a woman, that end phrase. As a woman, you're amazing. You know everything. I can't. So again, she paints this as she was in some heated self-defense moment and she was protecting herself and her child from this menacing threat. And the way it was presented thus far, and I'm just going based on her words. I wasn't there. You weren't there. It does sound like a woman gone a little mad. No? Okay, you now have to defend what many were labeling as an overreaction by making it like you were in this moment of defending and protecting yourself and your son. I have yet to see her mention something at this point, and we're going to go on, that sounds like a real legitimate threat. And the guy probably, in this, I could see if the guy wasn't doing anything wrong. Maybe he was like, hey, by the way, or whatever he was doing. Oh, wow, this woman's crazy. Walking away, like talking to himself like, wow, what, because you have a fine line here too of like you can't turn everyone into a perpetrator just like that. You can't walk through life with this sense of constant fragility to the point where everyone is now harmful, even if they're 30 feet away from you in broad daylight and saying, excuse me, ma'am. So where is that fine line? Well, let's keep going. Okay, so then a third video pops up, which struck my interest. Let's play it, Deli.
I don't know how I ended up with 50,000 new friends, but I am so happy that all of you guys are here. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. In honor of reaching 50K, I'm going to be posting an introduction video. That's actually something I don't think I've ever done before. I don't think I've actually done a formal introduction on TikTok. So I am going to be posting that. And I just want to thank all of you guys for being here and helping me create this community that supports and empowers working moms.
So girlfriend got famous, Deli. Girlfriend got famous, the power went to her head. So the question is, did she do this all to get some type of reaction out of all of you? She seems a little too excited about, oh my God, I got 50,000 followers. Woo! What's next? Watch a few weeks now. She's going to be like, I am in a movie theater parking lot and I'm shaking and something just happened to me. I mean, you just never know because they're all so dying for attention on this stuff. But I thought that was interesting that she took. Now, first of all, if you, again, these young women, if you like seize that moment and you're like, wow, I got 50,000 followers, awesome. Like maybe just keep it to yourself, honey. You made a video about it. So now we're all like, oh, that's why she did it. Come on. She's enjoying the fame. This was like her moment, This is like she went up on the stage to accept her Oscar. It's ridiculous. All right. Then people still were responding to her. So she comes. Is the last one there too? Okay, let's do that.
Wow, I failed to provide some very much needed context in my last video, so we are going to get right on that. Because you guys just think I scream at guys in parking lots for fun, and that is not the case. This situation has never happened to me before, and I really hope it never happens again. So first of all, we were in a mall parking lot that was completely dead. I don't know what it is about the mall in the middle of the day, but there was nobody there. Second, this was the sketchiest looking guy I have ever seen in my entire life, and I think he was trying to ask me for money because then he proceeded to walk down the rest of the parking lot looking for people to ask. I didn't have any other form of protection. I didn't want him getting anywhere near enough to me to like knock me out and rob me. I'm not saying that definitely would have happened, but I didn't want to open up myself to that possibility. When I first saw this guy, I had just put my son in his car seat and I stood up to see this guy across the aisle, the other cars. I'm not sure if that's exactly 30 feet, but that's where he was. And I mean, he was walking as fast as he possibly could towards me, so fast that I did not have the time to walk around to my other side of the car and get in. Finally, I definitely hadn't dropped anything. This guy wasn't trying to help me. He was coming at me from the opposite direction of where I came out of the store. In general, I am not a super paranoid person. I don't scare easily. It's actually, my husband has actually had to tell me, you need to take a little bit more precautions because there are bad people in this world. So for me to be in a situation like this that legitimately scared me, it wasn't a good situation. I did what I needed to do to protect myself and my son, and if that was an overreaction, then so be it. I would rather overreact in the moment and absolutely nothing happen than open myself up to the possibility of something happening. And again, I really hope this never happens again. I like talking to people in public. I'm generally pretty friendly to people in public, but this was not that.
Okay, so you notice how the story evolves? Now, because everybody's like, girlfriend, you sound crazy. You were in a parking lot. He's 30 feet away. He said, excuse me, ma'am. Now you have what is going on? Then you just put a video out. Oh my God, I have 50,000 followers. Now she comes in and the story's different. The story has changed. Now it's, the mall was dead. The guy was looking for money, was sketchy looking. Oh, I don't know. Actually, if it was 30 feet, maybe it was like 10. I don't know. Sounds like, somebody who's making up a story. And you never notice somebody who's telling a story. I'm not saying she's lying 100%, but it does sound a little bit like that. You ever hear somebody who's in the midst of a lie? They tell you a lie, and they tell you the story, and you're like, wow. And then a couple hours later, the story's like a little different. And then like the next day, you're like, well, you didn't say he rang the doorbell three times. That never came up. Because when you lie, you're always forgetting. You're forgetting like what, because it didn't happen that way. So you're embellishing. I think what happened was something maybe happened. She did overreact. She made this video like, oh, I'm going to seize this moment for something. And then ultimately got a lot of heat because it sounded crazy. And then she came back and had to embellish it to make it sound like there was justification for her to be like this in the car in broad daylight, right? So that's what it sounds like to me. That, and this woman is married, the poor guy. Imagine having to deal with this woman. She basically had a guy 30 feet away in broad daylight say, excuse me, ma'am. And that has generated 5 videos worth. I mean, we're sitting here. I mean, is it me, or does the crazy sting a bit, right? And then still, I have to defend and protect. Like, I listen. I don't know what to tell you, honey. Maybe get some mace, get something so that you feel a little bit more secure about your ability to just face the world. Again, let me throw this caveat, guys: don't approach women in parking lots. Don't. I don't care if maybe you're trying to hit on somebody, get a number. Maybe they do drop something. I know that there's also a conflict here, because then you got gentlemanly guys who are like, well, wait, but if she drops something and I'm just saying, hey, it's not worth, do not, unless you're approaching that woman because another guy is doing something shady and you're rushing to her aid. Women don't like to be approached in parking lots. It spooks us out because of how media has presented that for many years, and it just spooks us out in general. So unless, I wouldn't have this reaction, something a little is going on, but some people might, right? So your safest bet is to just don't use that as an area to get a phone number and whatnot. That the only reason you should be approaching a woman in a parking lot is because somebody else is bothering them and you're coming to her rescue, is bottom line, really. Otherwise, it's just not safe for you. You'll get 17 videos made up about you like this, and we'll be talking about it till kingdom come. I mean, this is some type of crazy. If you like the short clip and want to watch the full episode, click here. And if you want to connect with me one-on-one on Connect, you're going to click right here. Let's get to talking.